Alright guys, this is my 1992 Jeep Wrangler YJ. This is my build, man. Give you guys a quick walk around and a little, you know, a little bit of information on what it's got. Got a couple stickers there. So I bought this Jeep about a year and a half ago. I think I got it for my 29th birthday actually. I wanted something to go down to the shore with and just have some fun. And I found this Jeep for a pretty sweet deal. So I picked it up, went out, checked it out from a guy. He was hurting for cash, so I ended up getting it from him for a pretty decent deal, and he was happy, I was happy. So I started initially with kind of just let me put a big lift on it. I think it had like one of those rough country like 4.5-inch lifts. I ended up gutting that and selling it, but I was gonna put a nicer lift, maybe a 2.5-inch, drop it a little bit and put some big tires, but I decided to go ahead and start doing some axle work. So I did a bunch of research, having never owned a Jeep. I was literally asking everyone and their mom about what do I got to do to make this thing cool and fun and trail worthy. And I was told you got to start with axles. So that's what I did. I started with getting a Ford 88. I think it came out of a 2004, maybe 2002 Ford Explorer. It had 410 gearing in it, and I was initially just going to keep those gearing because my Dana 30 in the front had a 410. But that plan, the Ford 88 ended up turning into a bigger project than I expected. So I gutted this Ford 88. We put in a Yukon Ultimate 88 kit, which is like a 31 spline chromoly shaft, C-clip eliminator, through a Yukon Grizzly locker in the rear. Let's see, full disc brakes. When I bought the 88, it had disc brakes, but they were shot, so I ended up replacing them. I can't remember the brand I got, but it was like a full kit. It came with everything, so it was a pretty sweet deal. Let's see what else we got going on back here. Just like a Riddler diff cover, nothing too special there. I actually had a shop run the brake lines because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and my dad and I said, screw it, just have them do it, because they had to run brake lines from the body all the way back. Let's see what else we got working on back here. Still running leaf springs. So these are XJ leaf springs that that you're required to buy or purchase when you get the Jeep stretched out with the Motobilt stretch kit. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But I still like the leafs. I still kind of like the way they flex. Eventually, maybe I will do like a 3-link, 4-link setup. But I'm not I'm not really hardcore wheeling. I really just want something that's super trail worthy, but kind of fun and still practical at the same time. To be honest with you, if you had to do these axles all over again, I'd probably just go tons. The amount of time and money I put into them. But yeah, I like it so far. So onto the stretch kit. So I went ahead and bought this Motobilt stretch kit here. Bobby from Motobilt hooked it up. Really great guys, man. They're super supportive. They make really good stuff. It's all made in the US, super strong, super durable. It's really sexy. It really adds a nice feel and look to the Jeep. That extra stretch, I feel so much safer in it. Especially with the 37s, you get a nice longer wheelbase, and it's just an overall nicer ride. So that's my Motobilt stretch kit. It comes with these boomerang shackles. Eventually I'm probably gonna upgrade to urethanes, probably urethane bushings, and maybe get something a little bit more. As you can see, this side's got a little damage to it, that I gotta pay attention to. And this side's pretty good. So yeah, so that's the Jeep. Rear end. Oh, one more thing, comp cut. So we did a comp cut, obviously, because once you stretch it out, you know, them big 37-inch tires got to fit in there. So, you know, we did a nice little cut. I was pretty happy with the outcome. Jump to the front. So the front is running stock leaf height. I don't think there's any lift to those, but we're rocking a Waggy 44. Couldn't tell you the year it came out of. I think it was like a late 80s Waggy 44 or Jeep Wagoneer. Running a grizzly locker. Actually, no, I'm sorry, not a grizzly locker. A zip locker in the front. I haven't set it up yet, but it's ready to rock and roll. We got 30 spline RCV shafts. What else we got in the front? 30 spline RCV shafts. This was a bitch of a project, to be honest with you. If I had to do this again, I would not do this again. I bought this Ford 88, which was a 5-on 5.5 lug, or a 5-on 4.5, which was a Ford lug pattern. And then when I put that Ultimate 8 kit in the rear axle, I converted it to 5-on 5.5. The Jeep Wagoneer axle, unfortunately, is a 6 lug. So you gotta, it's either I get a 6 lug wheel and then, you know, 5-on 5.5 in the rear, or I convert the front. And I converted the front. Chevy flat tops, new hubs, spindles, rotors, pretty much everything to make it rock and roll. And then I was able to get my 5-on 5.5 lug pattern. It was a bitch of a project. I love my RCV shafts that are in there, the 30 spline, but they are a pain in the ass to install on a Wagoneer axle. If anybody's ever installed these things, like, you have limited to no room to put this big yellow cup or orange cup on there. So once you pop that in, there's a big like ball bearing that sits right inside of that orange cup, and you got to pop that thing in there, and it is a bitch, man, I tell you. But my dad and I kind of figured out some processes. We actually grinded down the bolt, and we did some grinding in a couple other areas to kind of get it to fit sweet. You know, I think we could probably take it out pretty comfortably now, but still, it's a pain in the ass. For anybody who's deciding to go RCVs, I highly recommend them. They're super strong, comfortable ride. You're going to love it, man. But, you know, if you do them on a Jeep Wagoneer, there's a couple things you got to do. Got to grind down that bolt. And then on the other side of this, let's see. On the other side, I don't know if I could really get a good angle here. Let me come around here and see if I can show it to you. But you see this banjo bolt there? And then there's a bolt here. This bolt, right by your knuckle, you grind some of this down, and that will allow it to spin all the way out and then fit that RCV shaft right in there. So that's the front axle. Pretty sweet. Love it, you know. It's without a question probably the best decision I made. It's putting those RCVs in there and, you know, really making that thing super stout. Other than that, I put Bilstein Shocks. Yeah, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. Couldn't tell you all the measurements, all the dimensions, but Bilsteins all around. Oh, one thing with the rear, when I did the shocks, I had to move the shock mount towers back about an inch or so. So, you know, they're sitting pretty much in stock position, I would say, but this is something I think I got to work on and maybe get a better, I mean, I don't know if I can outbore them because these axles really aren't tons, so I don't have that extra width, but I do got to figure out a better, you know, situation for the suspension so it gets a nice, you know, travel. All right, so other than that, let's see what else we did. We threw Bead Locks. So I put spider locks on there. They're pretty awesome. Great company, super supportive. If anybody's ever had Bead Locks before, they are a pain in the ass to put together. It took me probably like 8 to 12 hours to put all of them in. I screwed up a couple times and put them in backward, all types of stupid shit. And yeah, it was a pain in the butt. But at the end of the day, they turned out really nice. I haven't had any issues with air leaks. Really holds the bead on there super tight. Just overall great product. I'd highly recommend them. They're just as pricey as like your Trail Readies. A little bit pricier than I think your Battleborn. I think they're like a new company that's up and coming. They're doing really good stuff. Eventually I'd probably want to get rid of them and put Battleborns maybe. I bought these really because Trail Ready at the time didn't have a 3.5-inch back spacing with a 17, I think 10 rim. So Spider Locks had them, so I said I'm gonna go for it. I really wanted a little bit extra width, and I knew with the RCVs I wouldn't have any issues with wear and tear. Yeah, so eventually I'll probably gonna get rid of them because I do love them, but I don't really like that star design so much. So maybe I'll go with some black Battleborns down the road, but that's not something I'm really planning on doing anytime soon. So my homie Leon, he actually did a lot of the work on this beast. He did pretty much all the welding and all the, you know, fabrication for like putting in the front Wagoneer axle. As you can see, the Wagoneer axle actually has a small axle housing length, like the length of the axle housing is quite small. So you got to do some kind of retrofitting to get it in there. So he built this mount and hooked it up. So he pretty much did anything welding related, he did it. My dad and I built the axles, and you know, I did pretty much all the body work and some other junk in there. But yeah, my buddy Leon, he did all the work. I'm not gonna lie and say I did all this, you know, I built this myself, because I really didn't. You know, I hired somebody and they helped me, and a good friend as well. Other than that, these are some rocket guards that he built for me. Pretty awesome. I think he sells them for like 300 bucks or so, but they're super sweet, man. They got a nice little curve here, a little bend, so you could protect your body. While we're down here, we also had a anti-wrap bar with leaf sprung over axle and stretched out with the XJ leafs. You have issues reversing or driving forward with axle wrap, and this was this was like, as soon as I took this out for the first time on a trail, I mean, I felt it right away. I felt some binding in my drive shaft and said, dude, I got to get this fixed. So took it back to my boy. He hooked it up. We built this setup. Pretty sweet. He ran a cross member right there, and then we connected in the anti-wrap kit. This is all custom built, so he built all this from scratch. Brand new drive shaft as well, so I couldn't tell you all the measurements on there. 16 something, I couldn't even tell you, but really strong. Got it from PartsMike. Actually, most of my parts came from PartsMike in California. Dell Westerland is the freaking man. He's awesome. He knows his shit. So let's see what else. So I got a Genright fuel cell. So when you do the stretch, you got to throw in a fuel cell, because that diff is going to smack that. Stock positioned gas tank. So I threw this Genright fuel tank in there, 23 gallons, pretty sweet. Love it so far. It's doing a great job. Holds a ton of gas and gets the job done. Let's see, what else? That's pretty much it. I mean, everything in here has been gutted. It was originally gray. Seats were all shot. Everything is scratched. Even the doors, you know, I had hard doors. So I went out and just bought like interior pieces, like one at a time, and just kind of rebuilt everything. Put best top seats in, put best top covers. Trying to think what else I did. What else is pretty important? Oh, so my 231 MP231's got a slip yoke eliminator. Pretty awesome. So that's definitely a must if you're doing any type of lifts or, you know, change in the angle or the geometry of your drive shaft. Yeah, so that's really important. What else? Want to say that's it. Got a little GoPro up there, as you can see. You know, if you're doing trail riding, gotta have a GoPro. If you guys got any questions or anything that you want to learn about the Jeep, you know, just leave a message. But this is my 2.5 liter, forgot to mention that, 4-cylinder beast. Slow as dirt. I could manage 55. I can get it up to 65 on the highway. I got 513s in there. You know, I do like the 4-cylinder. It's something that, you know, I'd love to go to like the new Cummins R2.8, but I love my 4-cylinder. Like, I just can't justify spending that kind of stupid money when I got a working rig. It gets the job done. You know, it doesn't kill my gas. You know, I'm not filling it up all the time. I think I filled up for like 30-40 bucks, and it lasts me a shit ton. So, you know, I can't complain. Maybe if anything, I'd probably put like a turbo in there. And that's something that I'm probably going to be working on pretty soon, but we'll keep in touch about that one. But yeah, that's my beast. Quick shout out to Todd Snowman at Mike Snowman at YJ Fanatics. Awesome dude. Bobby Cox at Motobilt, great guy. You know, they've helped me out a lot. Del Westerland from PartsMike, pretty much all the guys from PartsMike have been super awesome. You know, anything you need, like, I came into this game not knowing shit, and they totally schooled me, and they pretty much hooked me up with every part on here, and they really do great stuff. So, you know, big shout out to those guys. Like I said before, if you got any questions or you want to learn anything about it, just, you know, leave a message. I appreciate it. Thanks, man.